Toys on planets or star, Raymond leaves the scarred ones. March of metal giants in the night. Mammoth follows in the dark sky, clashing gears and shadows collide. Grieving by the cold war wars ignite. Then do they is certain of us we must rend. Eyes and dragoons will play their part in this coup, with the burst of fury and Storm Tyrant too. Crimson like techno eyes and metal fangs, Storm Tyrant sword war like boomerangs. Wild soy Tyrannosaur forged in steel, blood red iron armor with cyber soul real. Crimson light techno eyes and metal fangs, Storm Tyrant sword war like boomerangs. Wild soy Tyrannosaur forged in steel, blood red iron armor with cyber soul real. Storm Tyrant, unleash your cyber rage, strike fear into our foes in this soy war rage. Mark the Empire's reign on history's page. Tyrannosaur, so it won't be bound by any cage. The Helicon stole our plans with glee, to build life to zero. This we cannot agree. Now our foes send our own toys against us, crush them into dust. Storm Tyrant, no disgust. Eels and Beavers armies want to fight. Storm Tyrant, Tyrannosaur sword fight. His mission to crush the Helic army. Let loose Storm Tyrant for his killing spree. Storm Tyrant, unleash your cyber rage, strike fear into our foes in this sword war rage. Mark the Empire's reign on history's page. Tyrannosaur, so it won't be bound by any cage. Now the Storm Fury of might is unmatched. The blood-red armored sword cannot be scratched. Let the Liar Zero come, you are ready. Storm